Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, Executive Editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk to you about Albert Magnard's Symphony No. 4. Now, Magnard was really one of the two great French symphonists, the other being Albert Roussel. I mean, his four symphonies are magnificent works, plain and simple. They're in the tradition of Franck and Dandy, that school, and in some ways they represent, I think, the apotheosis of that German-influenced style of writing in French symphonic music. Magnard was killed during World War I in the juiciest way possible. I mean, the German army was advancing on his farmhouse, and he barricaded himself inside and tried to shoot at them and kill the entire German army, and they blew him up with all of his music in his farmhouse. It was a noble and idealistic and quite insane way to go, let's face it. But that's the kind of guy he was. He was a very noble and idealistic person. If you know his opera Guercœur, which is all about honor and nobility, then you know that's the way he was. He had the highest standards and ideals, almost to the point of perhaps a mania. And I think his symphonies reflect that seriousness of purpose. All four of them are worth hearing. He sort of disowned the first, but that's a mistake. It's a very good piece. 2, 3, and 4 are wonderful. The third was recorded by Ansermet back in the day and remained his most popular, to the extent any of them were popular. The fourth wasn't really heard on disc until Michel Plasson recorded it with the Toulouse Orchestra. And there have only been 4 recordings, so we can handle this. I'm so excited when there's a limited number of recordings and it doesn't make us crazy. Plasson's recording was good. Let's not kid ourselves, but not great. The orchestra wasn't great. The sonics were kind of thick and cloudy. It gave you a good idea of the piece. It really did. But it wouldn't be my first recommendation, which is true of most of Plasson's recordings. They were enterprising and wonderful in their way, but distinctly second tier also in their way. After that, Jean-Yves Ossens did them all 4 for Hyperion with the BBC Scottish Symphony. Again, not top-notch. And the reason they weren't top-notch is because the orchestra, again, was just rather light. The interpretations were rather light. The sonics were somewhat intangible. I don't know how to say it. They didn't have the right body. They just didn't. And most recently, Fabrice Bolland has recorded them for Naxos with the Freiburg Orchestra. Quite good. They're very good. They're better than Ossens, but they aren't quite as trenchant and keenly observed and rich and visionary as the music ought to be. And so there's only one performance that qualifies, and you know it's coming, Magnard people, right? You all know Thomas Sanderling with the Malmö Symphony Orchestra. I mean, this is the cycle to have. It was licensed to Brilliant Classics. It was made for BIS. It's probably available both ways. I know the Brilliant Classics cycle is available because I just saw it on Amazon, within minutes of doing this video. I was just checking it out. Number 4, you will see, is coupled with number 2 because the performances are, shall we say, on the steady side. But the music can take it. This is very elaborate music. It's very carefully worked out. There's a lot of detail. The orchestration tends to be thick and heavy. And you want to have performances that allow the music to breathe. And Thomas Sanderling is kind of a heavy-duty German-style conductor. You know, he does Mahler 6th really, really well. And these symphonies require that kind of approach. They are heavy-duty Germanic symphonies, French style, right? That's what they are. And so if you get, Klemperer would have done a great Magnard 4th, for example. They're the kind of pieces that benefit from that seriousness of intent, that grasping for sublimity and spiritual consummation that you find in Bruckner. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Magnard is the French version of that. He really is. And it's magnificent. The 4th is a huge masterpiece, just to say. I mean, it has like I said, because it's based on the Franck d'Indy school, it has a cyclical theme that you hear right at the beginning and that closes the first movement and the finale. And that theme, I have to just hum it just to try. It's so beautiful. It's a modal inflected thing. It's ya da da da. That's wrong key. I got to do it higher. Ya da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. And if you didn't turn off the video because of that, then you are an intrepid soul. I'm sorry, Mr. Magnard, that I destroyed the motto theme of your Fourth Symphony. Here, let me whistle it. There! That wasn't too bad, was it? Anyway, it's haunting and beautiful. His scherzos, like all of his scherzos, have a certain rustic sort of almost Bartokian dance quality to them, especially in the trio sections. The slow movements are just sublime. The finale has a fugue in its development section. I mean, what could be bad? A fugue. It's just a great piece. And there's this gorgeous epilogue with the strings dancing about the apotheosis of the motto theme and the trumpets, and holy crap, it's just fabulous. Despite my singing of it, it's fabulous. You'll just have to take my word for it. I know that there are commentators on this channel who've talked about Magnard and asked me to talk about Magnard. So this is for you. I'm doing it, but also for all of those who have not heard of this guy. Here he is, Alberic Magnard, Symphony No. 4, Thomas Sanderling. There he is, Thomas Sanderling, with the Malmo Symphony Orchestra on Bis or on Brilliant Classics if you want the complete cycle. This is music that never, ever, ever, ever should have been allowed to fall into disuse, to be sidelined, because it is as great a romantic symphony as anybody ever wrote. I remember after this recording was made, I was talking to Thomas Sanderling, and it was actually in real life a really nice and kind of funny guy. You know, he's not anything like the, heavy duty German conductor that you might get the impression he is in person. He's delightful, and he said to me, I think the Fourth Symphony really is a masterpiece. And it is a masterpiece, and it's one you absolutely have to hear. So thank you, Maestro Sanderling. Thank you, Bis. Thank you, Alberic. You shouldn't have gotten yourself blown up. There was a lot more music in you. Keep on listening, folks. Thank you. And if you enjoyed this chat, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There can't be enough of us. All the best.